Hey, it's me, John. I was gonna do a video tonight on that manufacturing company, Alan, A-L-A-N. So they were like predominant manufacturer of bonded aluminum frames for a long time. They made frames for Gucci and just a bunch of companies. But I'm not gonna do that video tonight. Oh, they made Colnagos too for a little while, aluminum Colnagos. Tonight I'm gonna lay on the floor and talk about sort of cost benefit of being a bike mechanic. I think you really need to love it. And then eventually the love dries up and you've got very little left. I've seen so much burnout in this industry in the last few years. I mean, tons of good mechanics and friends have just moved on and started new lives doing something else. And the ones that are left are sort of, they're having a tough time holding on. I feel like there's almost like an artificial wage cap in this industry. I mean, you know, if you're like a white glove mechanic and you watch these videos and you're like, well, he doesn't do it right. Well, maybe not, but I'm fucking amazing, and, you know, I'm not unique either. So, like, I'm fucking amazing at this job, and everybody is. Like, so many of my friends are just badass, can fix anything. You know, they totally get into that flow state where they're, like, handling 7 things at once, and it's highly skilled labor. I mean, just the diagnosis side of things is just, like, ultra high-end. So, you know, why don't we make the same as, like a motorcycle mechanic at, like, a BMW or Ducati place? I mean, I suppose that we could if we structured things correctly. You know, I think value is sort of where you set it. So if you have a luxury product, let's say, for instance, I started a boutique bicycle shop, and the boutique bicycle shop only catered to the ultra-rich, and let's say my average ticket price for a bike build was like $6,000 to $8,000. Custom mountain bikes, you know, Firefly, full titanium road bikes with custom anodization. I could see getting paid a premium to do that, but, you know, I'm sort of a blue-collar piece of shit, and so well, I mean, I want to serve what I am. I want to serve blue-collar people and, like, make their bikes work. And clearly, like, you know, bums and stuff. So, you know, what's it going to take? We have the inability for most small mom and pop shops to sell new bikes because direct-to-consumer internet bike companies are on the rise. You know, it's no longer just Bikes Direct, Motobecane, some of the, like, shittier brands, which actually, honestly, their quality control might not be all that, but I've seen a lot of good stuff out of Bikes Direct. You just need to make sure that you have a professional mechanic check it over and assemble it for you, because a lot of times you get a big pile of good parts that are put together by a goddamn chimpanzee. Or maybe they're put together by someone who's just really exhausted and working for pennies, just like me. On the plus side, I did get a raise today, which I'm really happy about. I think that, you know, the owner of this shop, he does more for us than most bike shop owners would for their guys. I mean, we get health insurance, we get benefits, we get a lot of stuff. And it's still not enough, you know? So, to have a successful bike shop, I think you need to live, you know, if you want to have a big bike shop, you want to set it up in a major metropolitan area. Major metropolitan areas are generally more expensive. The wages for a skilled mechanic, if it's 2 wheels with no motor, it's pretty low, shockingly low, and that variability is really soul-crushing. I mean, there are a lot of times when I was a bike messenger where I made more money than I make now. You know, I'm 37 years old, and, dude, I have, like, people from the applied physics lab who come and ask me questions about how a thing should work. Because they trust my opinion on sort of the nitty-gritty, the boots on the ground. How is this going to fail? What is the failure mode of this? Like, okay, like, I know technically what the material science says, but, like, what have you seen? What have you seen, and how have things failed? And, you know, I just give that shit away for free because they're my buddies, right? So yeah, it's disappointing. I think that, you know, we're doing some good stuff. It feels wrong sometimes to have longtime customers come in and say, yeah, we just raised the price on everything. Like, all of our labor packages, we just increased them by like 40%. Because we're doing the same good job. We're the completeness of the work that we're doing is the same. The attention to detail is the same. The only thing that changed is the price went up in an enormous degree. And so I think unless you're smooth as fuck, it's really difficult to convey to someone who's used to paying a certain price, like what the value added bit is that they got for their extra 30 or 40%. Yeah, there's got to be a better way. I'm not sure if I'll ever open my own bike shop. There's a lot of headaches, there's a ton of overhead, and I just like to tinker on stuff. I've seen it work before. I've seen people open small 1- or 2-man shops where, you know, they're only doing freaky-deaky cool stuff. There's a place in Georgetown, or maybe not Georgetown, Columbia City? Well, whatever, they're down south somewhere, called Cycle Fab, LLC. And, you know, I've sort of watched them go from like, yeah, we'll sort of like half-assedly, I mean, they were using their whole ass, but it wasn't like super pro, like make you a rack, all the way to like, yeah, we have mills and lathes, and we'll fabricate literally anything you can imagine for a bike. And I've seen the work as it stands now, and it's really phenomenal. They're doing amazing work at a reasonable price. So that's like a 2-man shop, I think. They're just killing it. And I think intrinsically, for me personally, it's just like a fear of ownership, you know? Like, if you own a restaurant and that restaurant fails, well, you know, you declare bankruptcy and like go try to do something else. If you work at a restaurant, you're a waiter or like a line cook, and that restaurant goes under, you just shop your resume around and get another fucking minimum wage job, you know? So I'm not blaming the industry necessarily. I'm not blaming my employers. I'm more just like, just bummed at the whole situation. And you know, it's like, do you really want to even switch jobs? I like motorcycles too, and I was looking at sort of like the median income for skilled motorcycle mechanics, and it looks pretty good. Like, from where I'm at now, it looks really tasty. But I was thinking about, you know, this looked pretty tasty to me 10, 15 years ago. Like, this income was like, oh, that's decent. I could live with that. And what I don't want is to be 47 and have spent, you know, 5 to 10 years getting just fucking insanely good at that job, and realize that now I'm a decade older and have even less prospects, and I've reached sort of my wage cap yet again. So it's the struggle. I guess you got to get a side hustle. Like, one of my side hustles right now is like building other bikes and just selling them to individuals, you know. But it feels really ghetto. It's like you gotta like convince someone about the quality of a bike that you built on, you know, a Craigslist person. Like, they show up and they're like, well, you know, what condition is it in? And it's like, listen, like, I just spent what would have cost you like $400 if you'd come into my shop with that same pile of parts on a bike that I'm, you know, charging you like $350 or $400 for. So it's there's not many things that are beneath me aside from the floor right now, but it feels a little bit beneath me. Yeah, I'm just sort of rambling about this because, you know, it's worrisome. One thing that my dad did for a long time was, and me and him are really similar in a way, where we get obsessed with the thing, and then we get unreasonably good at the thing unreasonably quickly, and then the thing becomes boring, and so we just move on to the next thing. And so he went from career to career to career, you know. So he sort of like owned restaurants and like wanted to be a fashion guy and wanted to do music, and you know, he's like made weird Japanese weapons, and some of those aren't careers, or some of them are hobbies. But you know, I know we have a little bit of hero worship when it comes to our parents sometimes, but he really could have been anything he wanted to be. And after, you know, 40 years of skipping from thing to thing. And yeah, there was some hardship as well that, you know, he didn't count on, but after a while, he was left with no options. His option was like, yeah, work a corporate job, and then you can feed your family. And he did that and continued to do so until he retired, like 2 years ago or something. You know, and now he's free. And now, as a hobby, because he wants to, he works at a hot dog stand sometimes, which is hilarious to me. Like, he's such a high-level dude, and he's working at a hot dog stand. So for me, you know, seeing that, I had this sort of, this intention to not skip around and do a bunch of stuff. I wanted to pick a thing and then stick to that thing and do it for as long as I possibly could. But here we are. I did a thing. I stuck to a thing. I put everything I had into it. And now it's weird because I'm like disengaged from it, you know? So I'm actually, well, here's a little anecdote. The name The Yellow Sheldon, it's from sort of a bygone period where you actually could count on me for all the down-to-the-detail answers for all this crap, right? So if you watch my other videos, I'm going to switch hands, you know, you're going to find that I say, like, I think it was done this way, or I guess, or what I've heard is, and, you know, that's slightly shameful because I didn't used to have to guess. I just knew this stuff. And, you know the old saying, I've forgotten more about this than you've learned? Well, it's really kicking in because of my disengagement and apathy. I mean, you know, I used to read Sutherland's manual for fun, like on the toilet, and I have a hard time reading like a technical manual on like a shock or something because it's fucking boring. But at the end of the day, I think my burnout is a lot less extreme than a lot of my coworkers. You know, you might find that, I mean, I work with a lot of people who really don't like bikes at this point. I think that they, somewhere in their heart, they love them still. They still ride them. I think that when they leave the industry, they'll really grow to love them again. But, I mean, I'm still super duper into it, you know? I still love it. My fuse is just toast. I mean, I built this thing the other day. Yeah. Santa Cruz Chameleon. Super awesome. A frame came in, and I just thought to myself, oh my god. I filmed another vertical video. Ugh, you guys are gonna kill me. Well, I've rambled for too long to undo it and start again now. So what do you think? Bike shops are dead ends, or should I move on? Should I owe a giant university tens of thousands of dollars so that I can go into a new field at 37? What's the answer? I think that the main thing is, the answer is to just do what you do with joy and engagement, and don't let the burnout get to you. You know, I'll spend half an hour to an hour on the floor every night decompressing and just getting ready for the next day. But every day I come in and I'll serve you up. I will serve up the homeless, and I will serve up the rich racers who are kind of cocky and rude. I'll sort of serve up whomever because, like, you know, we're all in this together. And at the end of the day, this is my job after all. And I do love working here. Just some shower thoughts from a filthy guy not in the shower. And I'm going to go home, take out the trash, go to sleep, and wake up tomorrow and do it all over again. Epic Burnout, signing off. Good night.